little shit.
Thank you, Mr. Lincoln. Thank you. I thank you for making me part of your celebration here for the Lucy weekend. She was an extraordinary lady, and I mean, I had 14 years on television. I feel like a piker, compared to her. We'll never see anything like that again. She was incredible. And also, it's fitting. It's Memorial Day. Start of the Memorial Day weekend. Or I guess tomorrow is Memorial Day. Being a veteran, of course, it's very important. I was in service 1952 to 1954 during the Korean War. Fortunately, didn't get overseas. I'll be honest, I was a clerk typist. Not one of the glory jobs, Navy SEAL or fighter pilot, but you could get a paper burn that went smart. Forget about it, put it in hot water. And oh, damn, that's right. But anyway, it's very nice being here. It is. I should explain. First of all, right off the bat that I'm 3/4 Irish, 1/4 German, and the humor, I'm pretty sure comes from the Irish side, because the Germans have never been, known as one of the great races in that. Germans are. Do we have any German ancestors? The German people, they're very literal people, and they don't understand American humor, because very often our humor is perverse. We will say the exact opposite of what we mean. Like a German tourist might come up and say, I don't mean to bother you, but something else is perplexing. Your friend Curly over there has no hair at all on his head. Tiny is over 350 pounds. I don't understand. So the humor, I think, comes from the Irish side. I would. How many guys did you enjoy the Dixiecrats? Weren't they wonderful? But I've been following, for some reason, it runs in cycles, but I've been following country and western acts. And country and western music is lovely music if you're raised on that kind of music. I was raised in Chicago, which is not exactly what you call the heartland of country and western music. How many of you enjoy country and western music? But it's an acquired taste, that's all I'm trying to say. And I don't in any way mean to denigrate country and western music, and for those of you who enjoy country and western music, denigrate would be like to make fun of it or to put it put it down in some way, but I swear it's the same damn song. It's all my dog died, the wife left, gonna catch me a freight train, hot damn, look out. I mean, that's every country western song I've ever heard, and there is a song, I mean, it's almost metaphysical. There's a country and western song by George Strait, entitled, the title is, If the Phone Don't Ring Tonight, It'll Be Me. Oh, wow. Oh, say that again. But anyway, when I was in the Army, Gus O'Broussard he had the button next to mine. He's from Louisiana. And people from the South, I find very difficult to understand. Especially people from Louisiana, because we talked every day for 2 years, from 1952 to 1954. To this day, I have no idea what the hell they said anymore. Bring those elbows, hold on, whoa, elbows, go ahead, back down, on, off, right, fail, left. And that's the question. Also, you notice how people from the South, like, they start off yelling, whether there's a windstorm or not, and then they kind of trail off, It's like the batteries give out or something. The other guys are bunny, you know, or something. Reload, download, roll on, roll on, Anyway, all I'm saying is, you have to laugh at life. I mean, we're getting so uptight. Like, it's almost impossible these days. This is a private crusade of mine. It's almost impossible to not offend somebody, you know. And we're losing our national. We have people of English ancestry in the audience. Okay. I'm 1/4 German, 3/4 Irish, which makes me a very meticulous drunk. But that's the kind of things that the English are supposed to be very slow on the uptake of a joke, and they tell the story of an Englishman arrived in America, JFK, and he gets in a cab, and he happens to get a Brooklyn cab driver, so they're driving into Manhattan, and the driver turns to him and says, "You like riddles?" Yes, I enjoy the riddle. Actually, the riddle, it happened to be my favorite form of humor. He said, "Okay, here's a riddle for you. My mother had a child, it wasn't my brother, it wasn't my sister, was it?" He said, "Your brother and your sister." I can't imagine. He says, "It was me." It would have had to been you, wouldn't it? Oh, I would love that. Oh, that's Mom. I must remember. Sitting in the corner, you like riddles? He said, "My mother had a child. It wasn't my brother, it was my sister. Was it?" "Well, let me see. Eliminated a brother and a sister. I can't imagine." He said, "It was a cab driver in Brooklyn." But we have to laugh at ourselves. I mean, that's what this whole thing is all about. Insanity is totally numbers. If you had the pressure we have, you would drink too. Everything was fine till about 15 years ago. We didn't bow to the Pope, he didn't bother us. In one year, they take away St. Christopher and St. Patrick. Turned out they were frauds all these years. We've been wearing them around our necks. And I always thought St. Christopher had magnetic feet because you could stick them on your dashboard. Now, I don't know the name of the saint in the back seat whose head keeps going like that. Also, the same year, they hit us with a pill. We cannot use a pill anymore, and we're back to rhythm. Rhythm, it is by far the most unromantic form of love in the world, because the wife has the thermometer and the chart all the time, and you're in a crowded elevator, and she says, "Now." That's why we drink. That's why Catholics drink. All religions are the same. Any religion says basically be nice to each other. And the one thing that sets Catholics aside is we more Catholics than I thought were there. Well, we've all done it. You sit in the very last pew, you watch the two lines move. Whichever line moves the fastest, that's the one you get in, right? That priest wants to get the hell out of there, right? Now, I grew up in Chicago. The best time to go to confession in Chicago was during the Notre Dame SMU game. You could tell that priest anything. I just killed my family, don't do it again. And you could hear the game on in the background. First time I ever heard a priest swear was during a Notre Dame SMU game. He said, "Would someone please tackle the son of a bitch?" The hardest part I found in being Catholic When you're 7 years old, you have to learn the commandments. And you learn them by rote, at least I did. Because I had no idea what the hell they were talking about. Because the first one is, thou shalt not worship false idols. Okay. I don't know about Jamestown. I grew up in Chicago. You can drive around Chicago 10, 12 miles, never even see a false idol. And even if you see one, the last thing you're going to do in Chicago is stop and worship. Maybe turn to your wife and say, lock your door on you. Pretty sure that's a false idol. Now the other one was, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife. Now I was 7. I thought the priest was saying, thou shalt not cover thy neighbor's wife. And I didn't want to do that anyway. But apparently it's only a sin if you cover thy neighbor's wife. You can cover all the other wives. And you're home free, but the minute you cover thy neighbor's wife, you better get down to confession. And the neighbor we had was married to one of the ugliest women. I don't think he coveted her too much. Now, not to pick on her, but have you noticed that televangelists that have had a bad couple of years? I mean, it started with Jim and Tammy, remember? And he was convicted. They put him in prison, and then she married another guy, and now I understand he's going in prison. It was in the paper the other day. She liked striped shirts, I guess. Anyway, it was in the paper. They finally got all the makeup off of Tammy and found Jimmy Hoffa. That was.
That joke is so
old. Oral Roberts has spent a day too long in the prayer talk. Oral is a taco short of a combination player. I'll tell you why I say that. Oral has written 3 books. It was in the 3rd book he wrote about the time he met Jesus. Okay? If I met Jesus, that is in my 1st book. That is something that sticks with you, you know. His wife said, honey, one thing you never put none of your books so far. That time we met Jesus. Thank you, sweetheart. Goddamn, it's going my next goddamn book. Jimmy Swaggart. Do you get Jimmy here? Jimmy Swaggart? You know, Jimmy is, apparently he's always in South America. That's the only time I ever see Jimmy anymore is that the guy walks behind him translating into Spanish, you know, and Jimmy is always on the verge of tears, and he's like, my friends, los amigos. I need money. You need to know. I need a lot of money. You ain't gonna need much of that. My favorite guy is Ernest Ainsley. You know Ernest? Oh, you get all of them here, don't you? There are cities they don't know Ernest. Ernest is a little short guy, a bad hairpiece, and he wears a red carnation, and he kind of walks funny. And he's a healer, which I find it fascinating. He has a bad hairpiece, and he's a healer. That should be a tip-off or something. Roll, Jesus, roll! appears to cure them. Now, you can't tell, it's on tape, whether they're plants or whatever that one is, but he appears to cure them. This was on a month ago in L.A. First guy in line is on crutches. Ernest comes up and he says, "What is your name, my son?" Bill. "And what is your problem, Bill?" I can't walk? I think a priest would have spotted that. Two together. Oh, that's why the guy got one. "Bill, you come up on stage, you will stand behind the curtain. I'll call out the name Bill, you will drop your crutches. Next man, what is your name, my son?" "Mike!" "I beg your pardon, my son." "Mike!" "And what is your problem, Mike?" He said, "I don't talk right." "Mike, you come up on stage, you will stand behind the curtain. I'll call out the name Mike, you will walk through the curtain, and you will talk as normally as I do." "Bill, drop your crutches." "And you can't walk." Nothing happens. No one comes through the curtain. "Mike, walk through the curtain and you will talk normally." And Mike walks through the curtain and he says, "Bill, fall down." Anyway, I'm not picking on him. I'm just pointing out. I have flown 100,000 miles a year for the past 35 years. I'm sure I've flown more than 4 million air miles. To this day, I hate it. I whimper on a flight. When we go through an air pocket, I go, and yell out things like, "Oh my God, this is it." And it bothers the other passengers. And this is before we've taken off. This is it. Now, one airline I always try to fly, Delta Airlines, for one reason. Delta Airlines pays their pilots more than any other airline. It's true, more than any other airline. I'm kidding. More than any other airline in the United States. When I'm on a plane, I want happy people on the plane. Especially the pilots. I want to hear a lot of Now, there are two airlines I will not fly. I will not fly Air India and Japan Airlines. Air India is not a bad airline. There is no dinner service in the tourist section on first class, but the tourist people are allowed to come to first class and beg. Okay. This is a true story, absolutely true story. 15 years ago, a Japan airliner, a DC-8, landed on a sandbar in San Francisco Bay, 8 miles short of the runway. It's a true story. They had an investigation. They found out, as you know, very short people cannot see out the cockpit. They had these telephone books, and that guy had left them in Tokyo. They thought they landed. I couldn't make this up. This is absolutely true story. I was watching The Tonight Show, and George Sherry, the blind jazz pianist, is on The Tonight Show. George described a flight. He took one time from New York to LA, but they would land on like Chicago, St. Louis, Denver. The they landed in St. Louis, 3:30 in the morning, and then Captain New Georgia was on board. So we came back and he said, George, we're going to be on the ground for half an hour if you'd like to get up and walk around the terminal. And George said, no, I'm just starting to fall off to sleep. So the captain said, how about your guide dog? Because if you're blind, you are required by the FAA to bring along your guide dog in case of an emergency. So George said, that's very thoughtful. So the captain takes the guide dog.
Oh my gosh.
Half an hour later, they start to reload the plane. No one's getting back on the plane. They can see the captain walk over the guide dog. Good evening, Mr. Mack. I won the regional finals of the 10 Mac amateur in lacrosse, and they had this big sort of telethon there for me to get up my bus fare. You should hear in New York. Boy, I guess I'm about halfway back to lacrosse, I guess. And for the wonderful people that open up their hearts for me, I'd like to do for you now the song with which I won the regional finals in lacrosse. The 12 days of Christmas. On the first day of Christmas, my true love gave to me a portrait in a pear tree. On the second day, on the second day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 5 swans is swimming. For golden ring. That others might live, and as some of you may have already guessed, I'm talking about America's driving instructors. Now, this is a car. I'm the driving instructor and seated next to me. I said, some people went, ooh. Do some of the ladies in the audience, do you think it's sexist to make? That's interesting. That was never my intention. I mean, it doesn't have to be a woman driver. For those of you who are sensitive in that area, I will make it a Chinese driver. OJ Jr. hold all
Back to the lady.
Now, I can do 8 more minutes of this, or I can do it.
Back to the lady.
Let's see here now. According to our file here, your name would be Mrs. Webb. Would that be correct? And now you have had one lesson here already, haven't you? Do you remember the instructor's name on that? Mr. Adams? That would be A-D-A-M-S. It's right here in front of me. You know, it really might facilitate things if I just sort of read ahead of it to kind of familiarize myself. How fast were you going when Mr. Adams jumped from the car? 75. Where was that now? In your driveway. You want to start the car and we'll pull out in this stream of traffic. What's the first thing we're going to do before we pull out in the traffic? Well, what did Mr. Adams do before he let you pull out in the traffic? Well, in addition to blessing himself. No, but I had in mind, we always want to check our rearview mirror. I didn't mean to shout out something this way. It's just that there was this cement truck very loud. All right, your lane is clear now. You want to pull out? Very good. Okay, let's get up just a little bit more speed. Excellent. All right, now you want to learn stick, so let's ease it in a second. No, that's all right. I just hadn't intended to cover reverse this early. the other car's honking is making you nervous. Try not to pay any attention to their honking. You are doing very well. You really are. You have the feeling you're blocking someone's lane. No, as a matter of fact, as long as you're here on the safety island, you couldn't be blocking anyone's lane. Okay. All right, let's practice some turns now. The important thing on turns, you want to remember, don't make them too fast. Just kind of make gradual, easy. Very good. Just a trifle fast. One minor thing, and that may have been even partially my fault, you see, Mrs. Webb. But you were in the left-hand lane, and you were signaling left, and I don't know. I just more or less assumed you turned left. One minor thing. See, this is one-way street, Mrs. Webb. Same to you, fella. I couldn't make out what he said. Miss Wood, we want to get out of this human traffic coming at us. Anywhere! Yeah, this is something not too many of the schools stress too much. I thought we might spend the rest of the hour just driving through the alleys. Driving. You'd like to keep going. I tell you what, there is a practice area. I think we can go over there and you can build up your confidence. Turn right here. You build up your confidence, and then we'll go back out on the streets. Turn. Well, now that was my fault again. You see. Yeah, I meant at the corner. not under this man's lawn. Yeah, you want to back out, Miss Webb? He's coming at us with a hose. Now, I'd say from that sound, Mrs. Webb, that we just backed into someone. Do you recall at all my talking earlier about the rearview mirror? What did we say? We're going to watch the rearview mirror. The red light blinded you. The flashing red light on the car you backed into. she was just telling me about it. Actually, you're right, I suppose. I should have read her signal. See, I don't know what the signal is for coming off someone's lawn. Mrs. Webb, I'm going to have to bring the officers to the police station. It turns out they've been following us for the last 5-6 blocks, and then they don't believe it. Before I go, you want to be sure and get my name. Well, my name is Frank Dexter. Why do you ask? You want to be sure and ask for me next time? They pass this other hunter in the woods, and he says, listen, I've done that before. It goes a lot faster if you drag it by the hind legs. Makes sense. So they start dragging it by the hind legs. And they're dragging it for like half an hour, and then one police guy turns to the other and says, the guy was right. It is going a lot faster dragging it by the hind legs. And the other police guy says, yeah, but we're getting further and further away from the truck. One more. All right. Two Polish guys, they buy a plane. One guy's flying it, and the other guy's working the flaps on it. So they're coming in for a landing, and they're about a half mile out. The pilot turns the co-pilot. He said, look, well, that looks like a short runway, crank in 10-degree flaps. So the guy cranks in 10-degree flaps. Now, at this point, they're about a quarter mile out. And that runway showing I thought it was, give me 20-degree flaps. So he cranks in 20-degree flaps. Now, at this point, he is right over the end of the runway. He said, damn, that's a short runway. Give me full flaps. And he cranks in full flaps, and the plane stalls and stops flying, lands right on the end of the runway. And the pilot turns to the co-pilot and says, boy, that was a close call. I've never seen such a short runway. And the co-pilot says, yeah, but it's wide. The point is, we have to laugh at each other. That's what makes this so funny. That's what makes the life worth living, is there are differences. And from what I understand, it was a very rough crossing. Now, he was followed by Bruno Newhart 10 years later, who was actually in the boat with General Washington when he crossed the Delaware. Bruno stayed in service and became a forward scout for Lewis and Clark. And their search for the Northwest Passage. I think he had a good year to the search. Now the family, like many families during the Civil War, brother was pitted against brother. Now, in the 1920s, the family moved from upstate New York, Constableville, as a matter of fact, to Chicago at the height of the gangland slaying. And my uncle happened to be in the flower shop at Vienna Bangan when Al Capone staged the famous St. Valentine's Day Massacre, where his mobsters dressed as policemen raided Vienna Bangan shop. And my uncle was almost dying. We called him Lucky Al after that. Lucky Al. Now, I was born September 5th, 1929, at the start of the Great Depression, and my dad, like millions of others, was unemployed. Dad insisted on wearing this dumb sign on his chest. Dad would take any job that came along, and for a while worked as the daredevil, but frankly wasn't all that good at it. But we had a saying, if at first you don't succeed, try again. Well, Mom pleaded with Dad to find a safer line of work, and Dad became a tinker of sorts and came up with this football helmet, which you see him demonstrating here. lived like kings. But then when Dad would hit on a clinker, like these rain glasses of his, we had to move to a less expensive part of town. Now, World War II intervened, and because of the head injuries Dad had suffered demonstrating his football helmet, he was declared 4F and spent the war as a postman. It's the happiest I think I've ever seen Dad. Well, I graduated from high school, and then 4 years later, I graduated from Loyola University in Chicago with a degree in accounting. Realizing I was going to become just another number at a desk, I began to dabble in counting.
Thank you. My background is as an accountant, and I had a kind of a strange theory of accountancy, I suppose. I felt that if you got within $2 or $3 of it, that was close enough. This theory never really caught on, and I had a number of different accounting jobs.
My first attempts at comedy met with limited success. However, I put out an album in 1960 which led to appearances on The Gary Moore Show, The Jack Paar Show, and the epitome of all shows, The Ed Sullivan Show. I said, there's Ed right there. Ed is no longer with us, Ed wasn't with us at the time, but we didn't know that. Well, from there, I was out to California, and I was fixed up on a blind date in 1961 by Buddy Hackett with the lady who was to become my wife. Thought I was a combination of Gable, Newman, and Redford all rolled into one. Now I see the resemblance even if you don't. We were married in 1963, and of course the first year is always the honeymoon year, and you do all the dumb things that honeymooners do. Those happy carefree days came to an abrupt end, being Catholic 11 months later with the arrival of our firstborn, Rob. There's Rob. And there's Debbie. Little mother to be Jennifer, and 18 years ago, Courtney. Now, about this time, we lost another giant this year. I did a lot of Newhart shows, which were fun to do. The only problem is Dean never rehearsed with you, which is obvious in this sketch.
Private room of some kind, I'd like to discuss the returning a gift. Or is it underwear, sir? No, it isn't underwear. See, my wife bought me a toupee for our anniversary, and I'd like to return it. Well, do you have it with you, sir? It's under the hat, yes. Well, what model is it, sir? I don't know. I don't know what model it is. It's the crew cut with the widow's peak. Oh, our Mr. Wonderful model. Whatever you call it. We went to this party, and I've been down to put some cheese dip on this cracker. They fell into the cheese dip. Everyone quit having cheese dip. Maybe a laughing matter you should. The host started crying, and the host yes, and we spent about 2 hours trying to fish it out of it. So anyway, I took it home and I put it in our washer dryer. We have one of those with the windows, and that's another problem. See, the kids like to sit and watch it. They're mad because I'm returning it. Would you want a full exchange? I like the straight man who didn't laugh.
With a prison group, and one of the prisoners couldn't cut out on the outside, so he staged a phony holdup in our apartment.
Mr. Ted, what a
That
surprise.
was ours.
How you doing,
It's
Doctor?
Terrain Black from Bill
All
Street.
right, can I, get you anything? Yeah. Oh, your money. Well, I was thinking more of coffee. Hey, there's a holdup. Up against the wall now. Come on, move it. You too. Come on, come on. Mr. Tatum, do you know what you're doing? You bet I do. Now, come on, lean forward with your hands against the wall. Don't act stupid and you won't get hurt. This your old lady? Yes, this is my wife, Emily. Emily, this is... Hey, what's that?
It's a pleasure to meet you. Yes, I'll tell you a lot about you. Nice to meet you.
Emily, this is a hold-up, not a cocktail. Hi, Bob. Hi, Emily. Oh, my gosh. Let me help.
About 18 years ago, I started a show called Newhart, and we filmed it every Friday night in front of an audience, and one Friday night, I just lost it, and for some reason it became Jerry Lewis.
Chunk stop. What? We died for you. Now it's your turn.
Bang, bang, you're dead.
Oh, I've been shot.
This is my favorite scene from your show. This is the final episode of Newhart. It's been called the best ending of a television series. No, there it is.
Honey. Honey, wake up. You won't believe the dream you just had. But don't you want to hear about it?
First series. That's involved in the first series.
All right, Mom. What is it? I was an innkeeper in this crazy little town. I'm happy for you. Nothing made sense in this place. I mean, the maid was an heiress. Her husband talked in alliteration. The handyman kept missing the pointed things. And then there were these three woodsmen. Only one of them talked. That's it. No more Japanese food before you go to bed.
Thank you very much. I've had a great time out here. Thank you.